Hello and welcome to JetCast. I'm Sebastian,
And I'm Sean.
and today we'll be discussing where else we think airlines should fly.
But before we do that, let's discuss the latest aviation news on simple flying.
Firstly, police are investigating an EasyJet bomb threat intended as a message to Donald Trump. On Sunday, an EasyJet flight from Luton to Glasgow was forced to make an emergency landing after a passenger began shouting threats mid-air. The man wanted to send an arrival message to Trump and was restrained by fellow passengers on arrival.
Well, what do you think about this, Sebastian?
Well, many people hate Donald Trump nowadays, obviously, but it's not a good idea to start shouting bomb threats on board an aircraft. That's the rule of aviation.
Yeah.
Never mention terrorism. I hate Trump as well, but I wouldn't do that on an aircraft.
Yeah, even though people don't exactly love Trump and many people really dislike him, I think it's just not the best idea to have, especially to do it on an aircraft. You might be able to kind of show that you dislike him in kind of a peaceful way, but it's never a good idea to shout something that could and probably would disrupt many people's day just because you don't like a certain person who's visiting your country. I think that's it's not a good thing. Another really big aviation story right now that has literally just come in is that United Airlines has just sold 10 Boeing 737 MAX 9 aircraft that they don't even have yet. According to Simple Flying, United has signed a purchase leaseback agreement with Dubai Aerospace Enterprise for 10 new Boeing 737 MAX 9 aircraft.
But is this actually a good idea? What do you think, Sean?
Well, I think we've all seen the controversy of the Boeing 737 MAX, and definitely it's a controversial aircraft, and I can see why United might want to sell some of their MAX 9 aircraft because they don't really need them as such at the very moment. Although, yes, we do have an aircraft shortage, but at the very moment, United doesn't really need them, especially since air travel to the US and to Canada, and specifically short-haul destinations, has definitely gone down since the Trump administration has come in. According to Simple Flying, they will be sold to DAE, Dubai Aerospace Enterprise, and then may be leased back to United because they want to just free up some cash. So this is just a normal thing that happens in the aviation industry. Another big news source. Would you like to do it?
I can see. American is the latest US airline to increase flights to Spain. So, the new routes they're launching are Dallas to Madrid, which will have a Boeing 777-300ER. I think it doesn't say if it's daily or not, but with lots of premium options as well over the holiday period from December the 2nd to January the 5th. And they do already have flights to Madrid, but they're increasing them, and this will be instead of the Boeing 777-200.
Yes. It's just a quick note that this will be planned for the winter season. Though the demand for European destinations may drop off at the end of the summer season, it is still a good idea to keep a certain amount of aircraft flying to certain destinations, because who knows what will happen. And, some people would like to go to Europe, especially Americans. They have a kind of a love relationship with the continent.
They've also launched a service from Dallas to Barcelona on the 777-200 this summer because of demand. They originally shut the route, but people wanted it back, so they basically opened it back up again.
Yeah, okay, so these routes that are being launched are Dallas-Fort Worth to Madrid, Dallas-Fort Worth to Barcelona, Philadelphia to Madrid, and Chicago O'Hare to Madrid, which will be interesting, and I would love to see that.
Yeah, because they're currently going to Frankfurt, Heathrow. Heathrow is their biggest hub.
It's
surprisingly.
one of their biggest hubs
Yeah,
because, they're partner airlines with British Airways.
yeah.
But
One word.
according to Simple Flying, this is after an increased capacity and demand from United Airlines and Delta Airlines and big United States carriers expanding their focus
Yeah.
on leisure destinations, for example, Spain. So really, American is literally just following the trends.
We also have some big news. Like to do this about the Delta Airlines pilot being arrested, Sean.
Yes. So, according to Simple Flying, which we use as a source, a Delta pilot was arrested at San Francisco airport on charges relating to child sexual abuse. So, this happened on July 26, 2025. Delta Airlines DL2809 ended unusually. The aircraft landed slightly behind schedule at San Francisco International Airport and had an unremarkable taxi to the gate. However, once the plane was parked at the jet bridge and the jet bridge was connected, 10 law enforcement officers boarded the aircraft, proceeded to arrest the first officer on related charges of sexual abuse. So, what do you think about this, Sebastian?
Well, would it be scary for those on board because I saw that no one actually knew what was happening.
Yeah.
Even the co-pilot was confused. Having a whole load of officers coming on board is something surprising and not happening every day. So
Yeah,
it would certainly put fright into a lot of people.
yeah, definitely. And I can already see that it might put some people off flying or maybe flying this specific airline, which is never good for the aviation industry.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
always want more people. This was only reported 5 hours ago, and we would really like to see how it is related to this co-pilot. So the sheriff said that at about 9:35 p.m., Sheriff's Office detectives, with the assistance of Homeland Security investigations, boarded the plane to arrest a suspect who is identified as 34-year-old Rustom Bakwaga of Florida.
It's
Wow.
disgusting behaviour. So rightly so that he's taken off the plane.
Yeah, especially for a public-facing figure,
Yeah.
a pilot shouldn't really be doing this.
For our final story, should we go to the shutdown of Wizz Air Abu Dhabi?
Yes, let's
So
do that.
recently, Wizz Air announced that its Middle Eastern offshoot, Wizz Air Abu Dhabi, will be ceasing operations from, I think, September 2025. It's a low-cost subsidiary of European budget airline Wizz Air and was currently operating 12 Airbus A321s, mix of the 200 variant and the Neos. They're
Yeah.
based at Abu Dhabi, and their main competitor is Air Arabia. So, what do you think of this? A good idea?
Well, I mean, it's never a good thing to see an airline shut down anywhere, really. And it's especially sad that Wizz Air is leaving Abu Dhabi because I think it was such a good addition to the Abu Dhabi facility, especially with competition from Etihad and from Air Arabia. It definitely drew the prices down. And, an airline shutting down is never a good thing for the consumer, anyone, really. And that would mean that Etihad and Air Arabia's prices will be going up a lot,
Yeah.
which would never be a good thing. So, Wizz Air leaving Abu Dhabi is very sad, and we really
Yeah.
we really won't like to see them
They
go.
said they're trying to compete with airlines like Ryanair, EasyJet in Europe because they're not focusing on that enough. That's from the airline's CEO.
Well, I can definitely see why they have decided to shut down this
Yeah.
segment of the airline. I mean,
Like EasyJet's
EasyJet
presence with
and
Ryanair.
Ryanair are huge in this
Yeah.
sector, and really, it's quite sad to see that Wizz Air isn't doing so well because that if Wizz Air were doing well, the prices would be going down. So it's just another huge loss for the aviation industry, and I would
Yeah.
love to see them come back.
So, should we move on to our main topic of today? Where else should airlines fly?
Right, so recently I've been looking at some new airline routings commencing soon, as well as some airlines getting new aircraft, like Indigo's A350 order, which they firmly ordered 60 with additional purchase rights for 70 more. Wow, that's a lot of aircraft. So, with this, Indigo must be preparing for some new routes to new destinations, maybe in Europe or the United States, and they have been testing this out with the leased Norse aircraft, which I'm sure you will be able to find reviews of.
Yeah.
And after some thought, we wanted to have a look at what destinations we would like to see them and other airlines fly around the world.
But of course, we're not just looking at Indigo today. We'll see how existing airlines such as BA, Canada's WestJet, and new airline North Atlantic could utilise their existing fleets to travel to more destinations, many of which would not only help the passengers, but also them as well, with more income from better destinations. We'll start with European airlines and slowly work our way through different continents, ending with Australia's Qantas. So let's commence. So firstly, let's look at London Stansted. Stansted is a developing airport for long-haul travel, currently being Ryanair's base for low-cost operations.
Yes, yes, definitely. And of course, Emirates flies there with their 777s.
Yeah, and
And
Turkish is coming later this year with their A321s.
And of course, there's Royal Jordanian, who flies there right now.
Yeah,
So I would just love to see more long haul operations from Stansted,
maybe
since you
like
know
our
that is it is
flag
a
carrier.
growing airport, and it definitely needs some sort of push to get it into another kind of category of
Yeah,
importance in London, because London Stansted is often considered as the secondary airport in
well,
London.
debatable with Gatwick. Yeah, like Singapore currently go to Heathrow and Gatwick, so it'd be nice to see them at Stansted as well, because Singapore is in some way a leisure route as well as a business route.
Yeah,
So it would
definitely.
be nice to have Singapore Airlines maybe on their
As well as maybe
A350.
this airline, Thai.
Yeah,
Just for the listeners, we have Thai Airways in the background. My background, that is. Thai Airways and Thailand specifically is a huge destination for basically everyone in the UK at the moment, because it's such an appealing destination for the average Brit.
yeah.
And of course, British Airways only flies to Bangkok. Well, at the moment, we'll get to that later. From Gatwick,
It would be
and
nice
I
to
would love to
see
see them
BA from
fly from
Stansted here
Stansted. Yeah.
because
Um,
more leisure routes, like maybe North to South America, Asia, because Stansted is mainly a leisure airport, and BA would do well with their expanding fleet as well because they're getting more 787s in the next few years.
yeah, yes, of course. British Airways obviously flies there a little bit. Well, at least they are starting to fly there a little bit. But with the London City-based aircraft, that is British Airways City
E190s,
Flyer.
yeah.
Yeah, the E190s. And I would love to see British Airways, the mainline fleet, go to Stansted Airport, just because we just want more variety at Stansted. And personally, it's my favorite London airport. That is a very controversial opinion, but I think it just requires more.
Yeah, it
Okay.
does. So now it's Aer Lingus going to Asia, so Sean.
Yes. Aer Lingus, after seeing some after looking at the Aer Lingus route map, there is a specifically large void in the Asia area, which is just confusing because Irish people also want to go to Asia, and it's really strange that their route map mainly just goes to North America and maybe a few in Africa and stuff. But I would love to see them fly to Asia, maybe Bangkok, maybe Tokyo, maybe Beijing. I don't know.
Even the Middle East would be nice, like Dubai, Oman, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, speaking of this expanding of routes and kind of a bit of voids, we have North Atlantic, who I would just
Yes.
love to see go to Africa. They have got many destinations that they would love to go to. At the moment, they are planning to go to Bangkok. They have got routes to, well, Bangkok, and
Yeah.
they are, of course, flying to North America a lot. But they are hardly flying to Africa, which is really confusing because Africa is a huge market, and it is a huge market even for the leisure traveler, which would probably fly North Atlantic.
We also have, as we mentioned earlier, British Airways going to Bangkok from not just Gatwick. So at the moment, it's only EVA and Thai that go from Heathrow to Bangkok. But EVA is often very expensive, and so is Thai. And it would be nice to see our flag carrier going from Heathrow to Bangkok. Like if I chose one of the three airlines, I'd personally choose British Airways. And it's a bit of a pain to get to Gatwick for many people. Heathrow is well connected. So it would be nice to see a bit of competition with British Airways there and going to Bangkok as it's a highly growing route nowadays.
Yeah, and of course, Bangkok, Heathrow to Bangkok would definitely increase the competition, which would push the prices down, which is definitely better for the customer. And of course, I would just love to see more routes to
And
Bangkok.
Norse do a seasonal service to Bangkok, don't they, when they're 787s?
Yes, but not from Heathrow.
Yeah, Gatwick.
Okay.
Arguably the second airport. We also have the idea of British Airways going to Oman. This is only currently operated by Oman Air from Heathrow, but Oman is a growing destination. I know lots of people that go over on holiday. It's because it's less touristic than sort of UAE, and its tourism is now growing. So seeing British Airways flying there to add a bit of competition with Oman Air would be nice to see.
Yeah, definitely. I think Oman is a beautiful country, and I'd love to see British Airways go to Oman. Our next one is Jet2 to more destinations. Of course, Jet2 has gone higher in relevance quite recently because of that advert that is basically everywhere.
It's gone viral now, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see Jet2 go to more destinations, and maybe not just Spain. That's just a thought. I would just love to see Jet2 go to way more destinations because Jet2 is a really fun airline to see and also quite a fun airline to fly with because
get interesting fleets like air tanker operated A330s or the 737s,
yeah, and definitely it
A321s.
would be cheap, especially with package holidays, and because they're package holidays, you can trust.
Yeah.
Okay, our next one is TAP Portugal to Asia.
So TAP only currently are serving Israel, Tel Aviv. But it would be nice seeing going to Asia. TAP is a growing airline with lots of now A330 Neos, which would be nice on long haul routes. They only currently go to Africa and North and South America. Africa, due to their old colonies, and also South America. But it would be nice to see them going into Asia. They used to go to Bangkok, but they stopped that. Many Portuguese would probably love to explore Asia with their airline, and Porto and Lisbon, their main two cities, aren't really served by many long haul routes. So going to Asia would be a nice thing. Maybe the Middle East, because that's growing in Europe as a popular destination.
Yeah, another huge airline that I would love to see go to different destinations because it's one of my favorite in the world is JetBlue, who currently right now have barely any long haul routes, and that is because they have an entirely A320 and A220 fleet.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because I would love to see them go to more places. They currently have the A321LR, which they fly to Amsterdam and London. JetBlue does fly to Madrid. They fly to Madrid, Paris, Amsterdam, London Gatwick, London Heathrow, Dublin, and Edinburgh. So those are basically the only proper long-haul JetBlue routes outside of the Americas, which is crazy, and I would love to see them fly to more places, maybe Berlin.
Yeah, because the XLR's coming soon. They're retiring their E190s in preparation for that, so they'll be coming soon.
Definitely. It would be a joy to see more JetBlue flights, especially long haul. They're just the coolest airline ever, in my opinion.
We also have WestJet, Canada's low-cost airline, in competition mainly with Air Transat. It'll be nice for them to go into more of Europe. They only currently serve Paris, Reykjavik, Dublin, Rome, Madrid, and London. But it would be really nice to see them coming to other parts of Europe. They have the 737 MAX 8s and the 787-9s. They only currently operate a small number of 787-9s, But if they manage to buy more, it would be nice for them to go to other parts of Europe, for maybe Eastern Europe or Northern Europe, like Scandinavia, because Canada isn't really connected by low cost routes apart from Air Transat. It's mainly more expensive companies like Air Canada or a flag carrier of other countries.
Anyway, what is our next airline, Sebastian?
Icelandair to Asia. So Icelandair are in the process of eventually retiring their 767s because they're getting very old and replacing them with their new A321 XLRs. With their long range, the XLRs could make it to parts of Asia, like the Middle East would be nice because Iceland's very cold. So people living there, it would be nice for them to be able to go to warmer countries. They only currently fly to Europe and North America, so it'll be a new sort of network for them.
Yeah, definitely, totally. I would love to see Icelandair fly to way more countries, way more destinations, maybe Africa, maybe Asia,
Yeah.
maybe even a bit of South America, who knows? Maybe they could do a stopover like British Airways does in the Caribbean, maybe. I don't know. I'm not part of the Icelandair board of directors,
Yeah.
but I genuinely would love to see Icelandair fly to way more destinations, maybe in the Middle East. That's feasible, especially with the XLR.
Yeah.
And, the routes maybe to, think Seattle, that's one of their longest routes.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that is basically around
Vancouver.
the same length as flying to
Yeah.
the Middle East, or at least similar length. So that would be really fun to see. Our next airline, which I would love to see fly to more places, is Hawaiian. Now, obviously, they have recently joined, or at least merged, with Alaska Airlines. So they will probably start to join the One World Alliance, which will be great. I love One World. But one void that I think could be filled very easily is them flying to more destinations in Southeast Asia. For example, they could be flying to Phuket. That's a huge destination. They could be flying more to, I don't know, Indonesia, Singapore, the Philippines, Malaysia. That would be a great thing for Hawaiian to do, and I would love to see that. Our next airline is AirAsia. So AirAsia right now, they operate the AirAsia X fleet, which is basically a fleet of long-haul A330s. If you have seen my recent video, there is a clip of one of their beautiful AirAsia X A330s. Now, AirAsia X is one of the few long-haul airlines that operate under a low-cost standard, under a low-cost model, which is very interesting and is very good for the customer. So right now, AirAsia X doesn't really fly to many destinations outside of Asia, maybe a few in the Middle East, or maybe a few in Australia, or New Zealand. And I would just love to see them fly to Europe. Now, they did fly to London for a bit, but that didn't really work out for them. And I think I would love to see them try again, and I would love to see more AirAsia flights because they are
That'd
an
be nice.
incredible airline. Yeah.
They're a good quality,
What's
low-cost airline, aren't they? So, yeah.
What was that
Next,
again?
we have Indigo's long haul. Indigo only currently fly to Manchester out of Asia, which is a very peculiar choice. They introduced low-cost travel to out of India and Asia very recently, and it'll be nice to see them go to other continents such as Europe. We currently don't have a particularly low-cost option to get to India from Europe, and with a high Indian population in Europe, especially the UK, it would be nice to see them coming to destinations like London or maybe into smaller airports like Stansted or Gatwick. They
Yes,
have
another
their
airline that I would
yeah.
love to see fly to another place is my background. Thai Airways to fly to the Americas because quite well, not that long ago, the US Federal Aviation Administration, otherwise known as the FAA, downgraded Thailand's safe air safety rating to Category 2. That is along with other countries, maybe like Iran, Pakistan. Let's see what else. There's Malaysia. There is Bangladesh. There is, well, there was Thailand, but they've reinstated their number one status. There is Venezuela, and this is crazy because Thailand obviously is a very safe country, and so many airlines fly there. And it was just crazy to me that they didn't have any flights to the United States. But obviously, they are planning to reinstate those flights soon. Not right now because, Thai Airways is in a bit of a financial state. But I believe that they will be planning to launch those flights to the United States again because that is a huge market for them. And, US citizens would love to go to the US. And right now, really, what they can only do is fly either Air or maybe United to Taiwan and then fly continuously. Now, United has announced that they will be relaunching flights to Thailand, which will be great because we love seeing more airlines fly to Bangkok because it's Bangkok.
And with their third runway, they can get more capacity in now.
Yes, definitely. And of course, Thai Airways relaunching the flights to the US will be great and will definitely mean that it gets, in a way, better service and it will just be great to see Thai Airways fly to the United States. On a similar note, Thai Airways doesn't really fly to Africa, which is interesting because Thai Airways is a very big airline that I think would be great in Africa. Right now, they don't really have flights to Africa. Okay, they have a few. They have one flight to Africa. That is, they fly to South Africa. They fly to Johannesburg. So I can understand that, but I would love to see them obviously fly to more countries because the reasons I have just outlined. Thai Airways would be a great airline to see in more of Africa because Thai people love going to Africa. I know that many of the Thais would love to go to, I don't know, Kenya, maybe more Egypt, and sightsee there because, Thais, like, everyone wants to see the world, and it would just be great to see more airlines fly to more destinations so that the competition goes down.
Now let's have a look at Air New Zealand, possibly one of the bases furthest from Europe for an airline. Air New Zealand currently don't fly to Europe, but they did until 2020, which was due to COVID that it got cut off. From 2006 to 2013, they went to London Heathrow via Hong Kong, and from 2013 to 2020, it was London Heathrow via Los Angeles. Now with their newer 787s, it might even make it possible for them to come back to Heathrow, with a stopover possibly. It would be nice to see this as currently have to go via Australia, and even that is a very long flight.
And expensive, because we all know that Australia is a duopoly. It has really only two major airlines, that is Qantas and Virgin Australia. Virgin Australia obviously has just been majority taken over by Qatar Airways, and they do offer codeshare routes now. And Qantas is Qantas, and the duopoly means that everything is way more expensive to fly to Australia. So, with that meaning, current flights to New Zealand are incredibly expensive, which is never good for the customer, especially people who would love to see New Zealand, maybe on a budget.
The best way to do it nowadays is probably via the Middle East, isn't it?
Well, that's one way of doing it.
Emirates. Yeah. And then finally to end today, we have Qantas direct flight from Heathrow to Sydney. Currently, they only go via Singapore, but on a really long flight, you just want to get to your destination rather than stopping off. So it would be nice for them to go all the way. They used to do this, but now with the demand for sort of Singapore areas, they go via Singapore with their A380. It would be nice to see them on their 787s, or maybe even get some A350 ultra long range.
Well, of course, actually, this is quite recently happened, or at least fairly recently. Qantas actually did order the A350-1000 and will start operating their flights to Europe in the near future. This is otherwise known as Project Sunrise. And it is an incredible achievement to finally get long haul flights from Heathrow to Sydney, which will be happening soon. And I would love to see that to happen. And with Project Sunrise, we also might be getting some flights to the United States, not just LA, but maybe New York, which would be amazing, and I would love to see that. I'm really sad to say this, but the episode of JetCast has unfortunately come to an end. Thank you guys so much for listening to our new passion project. JetCast is our brand new passion project. By me and Sebastian, who are incredibly obsessed av geeks. And we would really like to appreciate your support, which you could type in the comments below, whether you're watching on Spotify, whether you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
And we would love to have you go to our Instagram and just give us a follow and maybe Q&A message us, because we would love to do a Q&A segment next time.
Yeah, if you ask us some questions in the comments, which are below, we'll answer any of them at the end of the next session.
Yes.
But from now until then, we wish you a good day.
Yeah. Ciao.
Goodbye.